I am Kaitlin, and I am living transparently. I really don't have a great memory. There are very few things that I actually remember from a young age. I can remember walking down the hall to go to kindergarten for the very first time, having a birthday party where my aunt dressed up as Jasmine from Aladdin, and snuggling my dad in his big lazy boy chair while he read the newspaper in the mornings. And sometimes I wonder if I actually remember these things or if I just remember them through pictures. But I do have a very vivid memory, sitting in my 5th grade classroom. It was a day that I'll never forget because even though at the time I didn't know it, it would alter the course of my life forever. I was just getting settled in at my desk and raised my hand. My teacher came over and I told her, I found out this weekend that my parents are going to be getting separated. To this day, it still strikes a deep and vulnerable space within my heart. And that weekend, my life as I knew it would shift forever. And as a child, from my own perception, having divorced parents was oddly normalized. Whether it was because realistically, divorce affects almost 50% of American families, or whether it was just because we didn't openly talk about these day-to-day struggles of this reality. And as a middle school girl, I quickly decided that this was normal, that I was just going to roll with the punches, that it's not that big of a deal because a lot of people have divorced families. And I feel as though I transformed through my middle school years quickly into a young adult, becoming very independent, navigating relational tension between my parents and my siblings, and then soon after my step-parents and my step-siblings. I became a mediator of sorts, a people pleaser, and someone who kept the peace. And in large part, this was because I felt as though there was anything but peace surrounding my circumstances. And it wasn't until I became a wife, now of 8 years, and a mother, now of 3 little girls, that I realized the profound effect that this pain of coming from a broken home, as some would call it, has had an effect on my life. And to this day, I'm still a mediator and a people pleaser and someone who wants to keep the peace. And there are all sorts of circumstances that I now have to navigate differently because of this, and I'm sure you can relate if you've experienced any type of pain. Who do we spend the holidays with? Who watches my kids? Who's feeling left out or unimportant? What would the dynamics be if X, Y, and Z? How do I help my children understand this? And the list goes on. And chances are that 50% of you watching this video navigate the exact same circumstances. And so I've finally come to this conclusion. I could be angry and bitter, confused and frustrated with the pain for the rest of my life, or I could find the purpose in it and live that out for the rest of my life. And so what I've come to realize is that we're all broken and we all have pain. We all have a past and we all have a story. And it's where we find common ground as humans. So if I can learn how to be vulnerable with my pain, chances are it will help somebody else be vulnerable with theirs. And I know this to be true. Just because your pain feels normalized doesn't mean that it's negated. Your pain is valid and your pain is worthy to exist. And your pain is not void. Your pain counts. And what I found in my pain is that a lot of positive things have come because of it. There are people that have come into my life and impacted my life greatly that would have otherwise not been a part of it. And now I get to call them family. And my character has been refined. I look at relationships differently. And I work really hard at having a healthy marriage. My parents are both in thriving, happy marriages. And I've got a closer relationship with my brothers because we've been able to relate to each other in our own pain. And I found out that my story can really be a Jesus story, creating beauty from ashes, redeeming what's broken and giving it new life, and living in the forgiveness that Jesus so freely gives me. I get to walk in new mercies each day and love others the way that Jesus loves me. And I found that sharing this story, this Jesus story, gives purpose to my days. And I'm Kaitlin, reminding you that your pain has a purpose.
One thing that I think is so beautiful about Kaitlin's story is how she was truly able to take the good and the bad and still grow from it. She's able to still witness love between her parents, even though they may be in separate marriages, that they're now in happy and healthy marriages. And that's a beautiful thing to see. And she's also able to break that generational curse and say, this is something that I don't want to continue on in my lineage. So this is a change that I'm going to make now. I guarantee you, some of us would be much better off if we took time to really reflect on our childhood experiences and come to a revelation and really understand why we act how we act and why we are the way we are. What I want to challenge you to do this weekend is to spend some alone time with you, just you. Whether it's journaling out your thoughts, singing out your thoughts, exercising, playing an instrument, whatever you do, do that. I'm certain that taking this time to be at peace with yourself is going to bring about a revelation that you could not have expected. Answering questions that you've pondered upon for years. Take some time, ask your inner child, reflect on childhood traumas, reflect on childhood experiences that were just not the best, and figure out what changes you can make in your own life, because change does begin with you. It's a decision that you make every day. That's what I challenge you to do this weekend. Come back to this post with any updates. Come back to this post if you have any revelations, or if you want to send a private DM, you can send a DM to YPHP the brand. I would absolutely love to hear from you. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. Check back with us next week, every Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Can't wait to see you then, and have a blessed weekend.